Mortarchs Serpentia are a loyalist space marine chapter of unknown founding and origin. These frightful and cryptic marines are not the proud mythic figures that the Imperium idolizes as the Adeptus Astartes, but rather a more horrifying, nightmarish force of power armor-clad spectres. Clad in midnight black and polished bone, they stalk from the darkness and the obscure, their death rattle cry the only warning the enemy will receive before they are cut down by bolt and blade. Wounds that would lay even the mightiest Ogryn are shrugged off and ignored. The only reaction the enemy receives will be the hollow rattle of the wounded marine as he continues to crunch forward despite grievous injury. When, where, how and why the Mortarchs Serpentia were brought into being is a question long unanswered by Imperial scholars, who hold no records of the creation of these mysterious warriors. Only scattered excerpts of their battles, as told by the traumatized and mad survivors of their vicious attacks, and even these unconfirmed reports, are unclear. For if all are in fact true, it would mean that the Mortarchs have been crusading in the Emperor's name for over 8 millennia. The nomadic and mysterious marines of the Mortarchs Serpentia are as inscrutable off the field of battle as they are on it. When they deign to communicate with other loyalist forces, they speak little and only ever in riddles and metaphor, their meaning and messages as indecipherable as their battle tactics. In actual fact, the culture of these esoteric marines is rather simple. They are incapable of feeling pain, and this has shaped them as a chapter more so than anything else. They believe that the Emperor has revoked their sense of touch, so that they may better shrug off the blows of the enemy and temptations of chaos. In reality, it is a mutation of their biscopia, an organ that enhances a space marine's physical combat ability and survivability to superhuman levels. Although it functions normally in its role of building muscle mass and bone density, it also damages and degenerates nerve endings in the muscles. While this leaves them invulnerable to pain, it also renders them prone to clumsiness and self-damage. As such, much of their culture when not in battle revolves around powerful self-control and physical awareness of not only their body and its location in space, but minutely fine motor control practice. This culminates in the challenge of the Maze of Needles. The Maze of Needles is a self-rearranging labyrinth of corridors armed with powerful las beams that will slice a marine open without any resistance. Marines must pass this test at least once in order to ascend to the elite First Company, and again before captaincy or chaplaincy. The marine is given a minute to memorise the maze's path, and the locations of the las beams before he is blindfolded and sent into the maze. With no sense of sight or touch, the marine must navigate the maze without dismembering themselves on the powerful beams, relying solely on eidetic memory and masterful control and awareness of their bodily position. The Mortarchs have repeatedly ignored demands for Gene Seed Tithe submissions to the Adeptus Mechanicus. The chapter has rarely, if ever, complied with such requests. What scant samples the Mechanicus biologists are able to collect from battlefields and hearsay is that the gene seed of the Mortarchs is for the most part pure, with no obvious degeneration or mutation being present within the chapter's organs, with the exception of the degenerated nerve tissue in the musculature system. This, however, is not the most alarming trait of the gene seed, for the most concerning factor is that the gene seed does not match that of any of the legions that the Adeptus Mechanicus possesses access to. This troubling revelation has led to much speculation of the Mortarchs' history and inception, and in what manner they were created. Nothing has ever been proven either way, nor has any formal charges been brought against them. The Mortarchs, on their part, remain silent on the matter, only ever muttering, "The prodigal son tells not of his journey, but the loyal father judges not. Lost to time, lost in name, lost in the baby's cot." Exactly how and in what manner the chapter organises itself is mostly unknown to the galaxy at large. Their insular and paranoid mentality, along with their inscrutable riddle-like speech, means that little to no solid information can be received from them at any given time. What is known is that they are a nomadic spaceborne chapter without a homeworld, recruiting potential initiates from those planets they pass by, and that they adhere to a bizarre Librarius-centric system of command. Because they recruit from a vast variety of worlds, Marines amongst the chapter are as varied and individual as the worlds they hail from. However, this deviance is only in the physical appearances alone. Every initiate undergoes extreme psycho-indoctrination and deep core mind scouring in order to wipe clean these initiates' past and any preconceived ideals, memories and feelings. These initiates are then harshly trained and instructed in the teachings of the Mortarchs chapter cult, which are as mysterious and unknown as the Marines they will become to be. Taught to trust no one beyond the chapter, they are ingrained in a labyrinthine, metaphor-filled manner of speech, that to anyone beyond the chapter becomes nothing but half-explained puzzles and pointless riddles. The resulting Marines are faultlessly loyal to the chapter, and nigh on physically unable to divulge its secrets. No factor appears to remain constant within the recruits. They are as likely to approach Scholar Progenium Masters as they are to parley with underhive gangs, pirate fleets and vicious tribal warbands. Those that are singled out, however, by the Mortarchs have little say over their future fate. Failure to provide these young boys to the chapter will often result in aspirants being taken by force, and such force is rarely non-lethal. The true reason these hand-picked aspirants are so viciously fought for is not in truth for the aspirants' physical or mental prowess, but rather that the numerous librarians of the chapter single out these individuals due to their psychic signature. It is due to this direct approach to acquiring psychically gifted Marines that the Mortarchs maintain such a large and bountiful librarius. However, like all other recruits, these initiates have their previous identities and personas erased, to an even more extreme extent than their fellow aspirants, lest the subtle taint of chaos leach into the Mortarchs' ranks.